very excited to have you here, and I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about all of your roles that you play, especially the new movie you have, Till, which is obviously a very historical movie for that's telling the story of Emmett Till. And I'd love to know a little bit more about that, everything. But just to know a bit about you, even though you grew up in the DMV area, your family actually is from Guyana.
Yes, yes, yes. Both of my parents are immigrants from Guyana. They came to the States to go to college at Howard University.
Okay.
And I was born while they were at Howard University. Yeah.
That's our homecoming. You a Howard baby.
I'm a Howard baby. I'm a straight up Howard baby, 100%.
I love that. I have really good friends that went to Howard. Now you have Caribbean parents, and just knowing a little bit about the Caribbean household myself, how did they feel about you wanting to go into acting?
Well, my mother was actually very supportive. The way things happened for me was my father passed away while I was in college. And so while I was in college, I had a different plan. I had a different, career track in mind. But after my father died, I kind of had much more of a sense of thinking more broadly about, what do I find exciting? Not just what do I find, responsible. That makes any sense, And so while I was in college, I'd been doing plays. A professor there named Richard Warner was very encouraging and very helpful in, sparking my interest in drama. So I was doing plays at the time at the University of Virginia. And after my father passed, my mind opened up and I thought, well, maybe I can do something crazy, do something different just to shake it up, And my mother was actually very supportive. I was actually pleasantly surprised. She didn't try and stand in my way. She didn't try and, tell me I was crazy or anything like that. She was great about it. And I ended up getting into a very good school for acting at NYU for my master's. And my mother was 100% behind me. And so I really can't complain about that.
Do you have a criteria for how you pick your roles, like what you will actually play?
I think that my biggest criteria is how does this represent Black people? How does this represent Black men? I have always refused to do something that I felt was based too heavily in Black stereotypes. Whether it's stuff that's written by us or written by people who aren't in our community. Either way, I feel like those stereotypes are very damaging and harmful to us as a whole. And so whenever I see a hint of that going on with anything that I'm auditioning for, I either don't audition for it or take the role if offered to me, or if I do take the role, it's important to me to be able to mold it and shift it away from anything that suggests any type of negative stereotype about who we are, or any type of narrow stereotype about who we are as Black people.
How did you feel when you first found out that you actually got the part, and just like, how did it feel actually playing a real character, since most of your other roles have been like a fictional character?
When I first found out I got the role to play Gene Mobley in Till, I think my overwhelming feeling was just responsibility. To Emmett's story, to Mamie's story, to Gene, to his family. Just this overwhelming sense of, okay, not a lot of people know about Gene Mobley and the role that he played in this story. And I can't screw this up. I have to make sure that I approach this with the proper amount of honor and respect that it deserves. And so this is more than just a job to me. It was definitely a mission to be a part of retelling an important part of our American history. And I took that very seriously.
Because, I definitely heard of the Emmett Till story, of course, but I never got that Gene part. I don't think I knew that was a part of the history, and how supportive he was to Mamie, and just like how much he actually loved Emmett and everything. Did you actually spend any time with maybe his family or anything to like get into that character?
What was very helpful to me was having long talks with one of the producers of the movie, Keith Beauchamp, who knew Mamie Till Mobley very well. He knew Gene Mobley very well. He spent many years with them. And so I talked to Keith for hours, just getting as much information I could on Gene himself and on how they were as a couple, how Gene interacted with Mamie, the way he loved her, the way he supported her through this entire thing. And so Keith Beauchamp was a huge resource for me with that. Also reading Mamie's autobiography was a huge help, The Death of Innocence. And the director, Chinoya Chukwu, she and her staff sent us just reams and reams of pictures and historical records. And you just kind of put all that into the pot along with a great script. And you just try and lend all of that to telling the story as best you can.
No, absolutely. So I did actually see the movie. I took my little brother to see it, which is really amazing because then it can like hit so many generations. I feel like, you know, I knew about Emmett Till, but I'm not sure he really knew that much. How important do you think it is for people to see this movie and like all races and all ages?
It's extremely important for everyone to see this film. I was shocked. Like after I first found out I was going to be definitely doing this role, I would tell people about it because I was so excited. And people were like, Emmett Till, I feel like I've heard that name before somewhere. I don't know. What is that again? Like I was shocked at how many people, Black people, white people, everybody, didn't really know anything about Emmett Till. It was stunning to me. And it's also scary to me because if you don't know the story of Emmett Till, then you don't feel the full impact of when that happens now, today, when it happens to people like Ahmaud Arbery and Trayvon Martin. The same thing, you know, young Black men being killed because they're Black. If you can't connect that to 1955 and prior to 1955, all the way back to when we first came to these shores, then you don't really get the full impact of how deep the problem is. Right now in 2022. So that's why it's important for all of us to see this film. Black people need to see how these dots connect and how we have to keep fighting, have to keep pushing, because we can never get into the mindset that, you know, that racism is over or that everything is okay now. There are certain
that's for sure
ignorant people out there now who are trying to sell Black people on this notion that if you feel a double standard, or if you feel like you're being treated like a second-class citizen, it's in your imagination, and that's not real, you know? And that's ignorant, it's wrong. And I'm extremely glad to be a part of pushing back against all of that. So everybody has to see Till. It's important for all of us to be educated on the facts and on our history.
Now, is there any powerful moments or scenes in this movie?
There's so many moments. I mean, Danielle Deadwyler was just such an astonishing force of nature in this film. It's really hard to pick one moment. I think that the scene where Emmett first comes home on that train, in that casket, in that wooden casket, and being there shooting that scene with Danielle, it's the first time it felt real for Mamie, when the whole weight of what actually happened really just knocked her into another universe. Seeing that train literally pull into the station and seeing that coffin come off the train, and watching Danielle take in all of what that is. That whole day that we shot that scene was just astonishing to me. I literally felt like I had traveled back in time, and I was literally there with Mamie Till when she was watching her son come home in a way that she never expected him to come home.
So after doing this film, does it make you want to cling to your family just a little bit closer?
Oh, of course. Of course. I mean, when you're a parent, you always feel like your job is to protect your children. You know, that's your number one job. And to know that Mamie sent her son to spend time with family, and to have that happen, just the sense of like the one job that I had, it slipped through my fingers to protect my child. You know, uh, when I think about my own children, it's just unimaginable to me how I would continue to be able to live. To be honest with you, like I don't know that if I lost my children, especially in that way, that I'd even want to be here anymore. You know, and so to see how Mamie Till not only persevered, but used that moment to make the whole world better is just stunning to me and miraculous. And just, she's an American hero. And I don't think she gets the credit that she deserves.
Absolutely. Now, moving on to your new show, Unreasonable Doubt, which is on Hulu and is also directed by Kerry Washington. How's it working with her again since Save the Last Dance? And how do you like your character on the show?
I'm so happy to get a chance to work with Carrie again, because every time uh, we've been out on set together, it's always felt like 100% genuine, pure, natural, organic. And so I knew that it was going to be that way again when we got on set together again, whenever that was going to be, because I knew it was going to happen at some point. And to have it happen with this project, it couldn't have been any more of a perfect situation. To have her as a director,
Yes.
To have her there,
yes,
it was just a complete feeling of family, a total feeling of pride in her and all her accomplishments and myself as well. You know, we both grown up and we both, you know, evolved as artists, and to come back into each other's space as grown adults, because we teased each other on set that we were babies back then, and now we're grown. To come back into a creative setting as grown-ups, you know, with families, kids, and all that stuff, is really, really special to me.
How do you feel about that?
I love it. 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 The idea of playing somebody who isn't just one thing, you know, and somebody who's unapologetic about what they want is very exciting to me. I think most characters that I've played have some type of set of rules that they go by, or some kind of code that they live by. And this guy is kind of wild. He didn't have that, you know. He's very, you know, flexible in terms of his ethics and his morals, and that's exciting to play, because I'm not like that. And so it's fun to throw all the rules out the window and see what happens. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to play the role. It's challenged me with doing things as an actor that I've never had the opportunity to do before. So I'm very grateful.
Absolutely. And I'm sure your wife, Annika, make sure you leave that at home.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure your wife, Annika, make sure you
come
leave
home.
that at home. Your real self. Come home.